Nigeria does not have Auditor General. And that is why the audited report for Auditor General's report for 2020 at the moment is ready, but it cannot be appended. I mean, he cannot append his signature on it because he is not a substantive Auditor General, neither a fully, formally acting Auditor General, which is why I wrote the President earlier, as you have all heard on the chamber. I mean, in the chamber, somebody was complaining, and I did not just write the President. I sought the understanding and approval of the President of the Senate, which, of course, a copy of the letter to the President was via his own office, for the President to know that this is the situation we have at hand. And I feel it is important for my colleagues, particularly those of you that were here before us, to know that this is what we have at hand. And unless and until that is being handled, we may not be able to go beyond considering 2019 Auditor General's report. And if we cannot go beyond that, then that means the committee will be handicapped to really discharge or achieve its set objectives. I mean, which is fundamentally around and about ensuring accountability and transparency.
On arguably, this is the only committee that is mentioned in the Constitution. The other committees derive their power from the fact that the National Assembly should regulate itself. So that underscores the importance of this committee. And I must commend Mr. Chairman and his vice, and also the clerk, because they have given us proper ground for takeoff. And we'll take the chairman's speech as our working document, because the chairman's speech is concise and it carries everything. So I will move that we will adopt it as our working document for this committee. In fact, what is ready as of today is only 2019. Even the 2020 is not ready for the reasons that the chairman has explained. So I think as a committee, we have to look into it. We can't be working. So after several years, we are now looking into the general report. While a lot of things would have overtaken by then. That is one point. The second point I want to say before I conclude is in the working plan, I did not see us inviting NNPC because 90 in their recent report have indicted NNPC. But it's not here. Because 90 have indicted NNPC about some missing funds in NNPC. And it is our responsibility to look into that report from 90 that have publicly indicted NNPC in their report. So, but it is not in the work plan, work program. So we have to look at it very critically on tax liabilities of MDAs and other parastatals. We have to seriously do a thorough oversight on tax liabilities, because most of the MDAs, most of the companies that work with them are not paying tax. So how come you collect public funds and you can't pay tax? And even when the taxes are paid, they're not properly accounted for. So we have to synchronize the issue of tax regime in this country and ensure that it is properly done.
With this type of start and the commitment of all of us, I believe this committee should be able to carry out its responsibilities as enshrined by the Constitution. I call this committee a noble committee because of its constitutional backing. It is not only important because I heard some of my colleagues saying that this important committee, it is not only important but the most noble of all the committees we have, because it has to do with what do I say? It has to do with the finances of the nation. And whatever we do will have a great tale on whatever happens to the finances of this great country.
We are committed to support you to see that this committee, under your leadership, does exceedingly very well and succeeds. This committee is obviously one that underscores every other thing that goes on around here and in the nation. And while we are looking at all these MDAs and so on, I also want us to look at where pro-health taxes are going into, because that is a whole big area which we don't know where those monies are actually going to. Pro-health taxes, and it's a very vast area, and it will do a lot for us. Now we have a government that is talking of renewed hope in health, renewed hope in education, renewed hope all around. So we need every cent of our money, every naira of our money to enter into the right coffers and to be well accounted for, so that we can deliver to our people all that concerns renewed hope for this nation. That is what they are looking forward to. And so all the institutions, the accountant, the auditor general or the accountant general, we must make sure that they are up with their duties. Whatever needs to be done should be done as at when due. We should not be talking of arrears now in 2023. We need to catch up with every piece of work that is left behind. I commit to, with all my members, to ensuring that this committee succeeds.
I looked at all the details, the program, the schedule of activities that are still going to happen. And I will also let you know, it's a very humongous tax that you have taken upon yourself and for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Look at your health also. We know what happened yesterday in the Senate. The work is not easy, and it is going to continue to be tedious. So I wish you the best of luck. Some of us who are in your committee are also heading other committees. We may not be there all the time to do the detailed work, but call us when you think it is becoming heavy on you. We will be there to help you to solve any problem.
It takes two to tango. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to all MDAs that what that is expected of them, they must be able to report back on time. Like Her Excellency said, we will not take reports in arrears. And I want to implore members of the committee, starting from the chairman, sir, that we must find a way of catching up with the arrears. I do not know how we're going to make up between 2019 and now, but whatever it takes, we should just try to see what we can do. And efforts should also be made to pursue the letter you initially spoke about, which we have written. Because unless and until we have a substantive Auditor General of the Federation, it might be difficult for us to be able to make any move.
That are going to be dealing with this committee, I want to beg them to try as much as possible to avail themselves to this committee so that the work that this committee is supposed to do will become easy and smooth.
The comments from you, which are of course quite encouraging, but at the same time challenging. For our colleagues to be this commendable of us, that means we should do much more than we have done so far.
This is the most important committee in any parliament all over the world. It is important because it has to do with public monies. And the Public Accounts Committee will not be able to achieve its sole objectives of bringing accountability to the table, regardless of its commitment, if it doesn't have the much needed support from our colleague members, the Secretariat, and indeed Nigerians. Times past, a lot of people don't give the National Assembly committees any regard because of one, two things or the other. But this committee is a special committee. And I was a deputy of this committee to the then former Senate President, Dr. Ahmed Lawal, from 2011 to 2015. This committee is enough. It has enough work for committee members to spend 24 hours a day working. If this committee fails, if Nigeria fails, if public funds fails to be used to where it is of course this committee that will be able to bring them to line. If this committee fails to bring people to line, that means this committee fails Nigerians. If you see a Nigerian working, it is because the Public Accounts Committee stands on its feet and on its mandate. And therefore, I'll call on my colleagues, especially people who are joining the committee for the very first time. This is a very tasking committee. It's challenging, it's risky, it's intimidating, because you are going to step on toes. When I was a deputy chairman of this committee, I had a torrid time trying to wriggle out between a friend, a colleague, a party man, a government man, because issues of that nature will arise. Therefore, the only way we'll be able to work harmoniously, first of all, to clean our mind that we're not running after anybody. We're not putting searchlight on after anybody to disgrace anybody. But we have a job to do. And you look at others, Section 62, Order 95, 98, and you look at the Constitution, Chapter Clause 88, 87, 86, has given this committee a wide range of powers. It is when the committee fails to use its powers that we'll find ourselves in this terrible bad situation. And I therefore call on the staff, in particular the staff of this committee, one of the key things that you should guide against is secrecy. Secrecy and commitment to duty. And I'm very positive the chairman of the committee is a friend, a junior brother. I've been with him since 23 years ago. So I know how it works. I know how he works. I'm very positive you carry people along. And to the chairman himself, I'm sure from today, after this inaugural meeting, you're going to be under continuous pressure of do this or don't do this, from high quarters and low quarters. He could only achieve the success of what he intends to achieve as a chairman if he has the cooperation of our colleagues members. I wasn't a member of this committee. Initially, I said I must belong to this committee because this committee is what will make the nation, and the National Assembly in particular, tick. And therefore, I call all of us to rally around ourselves, to believe in ourselves, and to trust ourselves that this job of Nigeria is doable, is possible. We can do it. I know it's challenging, but together we can make a difference. We are going to stuck with you for the next 4 years. And therefore, what is important is that we see ourselves as friends, as colleagues, and as partners.
The committee shall be interfacing with everybody. You can imagine a committee that is empowered by law to write even the presidency and say, tell us we need your submissions in the last 2-3 years, the releases done to the presidency and utilization. That's heavy. And so you need strong members as well, that whoever sees the faces or hears the names, he knows that this is not a committee or member, the senators that he or she can toy around with. We shall be as fair as we can to all. And I had mentioned it. He had also done this to a couple of chief executives in the pre-inauguration interactions that we had with them. If you come to us as a friend, it is Nigerian project, it belongs to all of us. But if you think you feel carried away or overwhelmed by whatever position or status you have, we will tell you, you are under constituted authority. We are not going to entertain anything that will appear to be disrespectful, or will appear to be disobedient, or will appear to be arrogant. There is no arrogance before the law. We will do the best we can. And as events unfold, we shall get to hear more.
Our problem as a nation is corruption. Corruption, corruption, corruption. And I think that is the spirit of the Constitution in establishing this noble committee. Like the chairman rightly said recently, that this committee can summon anybody that receives public fund. Therefore, as committee members, as supporting staff, count yourself lucky. Lucky not because of material benefit. You are lucky because you are part of the team that is going to rewrite the wrongs of our country, Nigeria. The president, as commander-in-chief, cannot do it alone, because most times we push the blame to the politicians. It's our duty as civil servants, as politicians. In any capacity you find yourself in this country, you have a role to play. Therefore, this committee in the 10th Senate will do things differently. Any kobo that is into a hand of an individual or an institution that is not properly accounted for, I, as a person, will pay the supreme price to make sure the right thing is done.
Meeting is adjourned to the 11th of October, Wednesday next week, which is when the public hearing on the Auditor Generals for the Federation's Report 2019 shall commence. So, adjourned to 11th of October 2023.